This is Ryan Abraham, a triple-double, Connor Morrissette, USCfootball.com. Instant analysis here from Folsom Field. USC defeats Colorado 48-41. We heard some cheering in the locker room. Lincoln Riley was trying to say, hey, man, it's tough to win on the road, but there's just had this bad taste in your mouth after blowing kind of a big lead like that.
Oh, absolutely. It's tough to win on the road, and Coach Riley after the game talked about how at the end of the season, if we keep winning, people won't remember this game. They'll just remember that we won. But you got to look at it after a performance like this when you're up 41-14 and you let Colorado get back into the game, make it a one-score game right at the end. You have to look at it like when you go on down the line and maybe you lose a couple of games, we'll remember this game as the turning point. Oh, the defense showed us in this game that they weren't going to be ready for some of those bigger games. I'm so surprised, Ryan, that we're sitting here talking about the defense. I thought at halftime it was going to be a blowout. I had my whole story written. Maybe I shouldn't have been so surprised. But the fact that that's the biggest story when Caleb Williams had a really fantastic game and the offense for the most part played well up until the end, I thought that was going to be the big story. The defense doing fine. I thought that was going to be enough. They did fine in the first half. In the second half, they did not do fine at all. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but the way the game was going, I am a little bit.
Yeah, you talked about the turning point. Giving up that touchdown right before the end of halftime gave Shedeur Sanders a lot of confidence, and he was pressured a lot, and Lincoln Riley talked about that. I thought they did a really good job of pressuring him, but when you escape the pocket and you can just run up the middle for a touchdown, when they were just throwing these little hitch routes and they go for big plays. I mean, I talked about chunk plays being a real problem for this defense. They gave up 8 plays of over 20 yards to Colorado. But I think that could have been the turning point, that touchdown late in the first half.
And the big key that a lot of defensive guys and Coach Riley talked about, they didn't keep Shedeur Sanders in the pocket in the second half, and that led to a lot of the big plays. He was able to run, we saw a couple times, and that hurt him as well. But they did a good job, they thought, of keeping him in the pocket in the first half. In the second half, they didn't do that. As to why Bryson Shaw comes out, you missed this, Ryan, it just happened. He comes out, he is angry, he is fired up. He's saying it's not Alex Grinch's fault, it's all on the players. He's putting us in the good positions needed to win games. It's all on us. We're not executing. I'm not executing. He was really upset, and he said, Alex Grinch, there's no coach that I'd rather play for. Coach Riley said that he still has full confidence in Alex Grinch. They really deflected, Shaw did, he deflected the blame away from Grinch and onto the players, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that was something. Obviously, everyone on the Peristyle, everyone on Twitter, everyone's just been talking about fire Grinch, fire Grinch, fire Grinch. It's hard to argue when you see what the kind of defensive collapse was there, but to see that Lincoln Riley was defending him, he was asked about his confidence in him. That was his shortest answer. It's like, yes, I do. And then, have Bryson Shaw kind of defend him there too. But overall, you just can't be happy with this defensive effort. He talked about some analogies this week about baseball, like, oh, you're throwing a lot of strikes and, not walking people, but you still have a high ERA. They were giving up some huge plays in this one. This was giving up big bombs. That's why your ERA was high. Exactly.
And all USC needs to do, the offense is the best in college football. Caleb Williams today, 6 touchdowns. He had the one pick, uncharacteristic, but he is so good, and the offense is so good. The receivers, Marshawn Lloyd had another really good game. The offense is so good. You just need to not mess up. Yeah. And that's what was so surprising. Like, the bar is kind of low for the USC defense because the offense is so good. And the fact that in the second half, 3 drives in a row, 211 yards for Colorado, 3 touchdowns, it's surprising that on one of those, you couldn't have forced a punt or even a field goal. Field goals aren't going to make you lose. Touchdowns are going to make you lose. And so I think that's why the fans are so frustrated, and it's deserved because the offense is so good. The defense, they have some margin for error, and today they got as close as you can get to without losing. What a surprise. I'm still kind of in shock, I guess, but I think Coach Riley said too that the problems from last year, they're different this year. I don't see it that way at all. I think it's the same thing as last year. This looked like Tulane to me. We talked about it in the press box. Bigger comeback for Colorado, of course, but very similar. Very similar.
Yeah, a lot of if the Cotton Bowl feels there. And Lincoln Riley said to the untrained eye, this might look like the same thing. But from a coach's point of view, it's not. But giving up, if I'm not mistaken, 4 of Colorado's last 5 drives went for touchdowns. And there was an opportunity where you had a 1st and goal at the 10, and you get it could have been 3rd and 5. And then you end up getting a defensive penalty. Like, not being able to close out some of those drives. Yeah, okay, you give up the big chunk play, but then make a closeout, get something going, and they weren't able to do that. We got the tractor going right near us here.
Yeah, they absolutely weren't as the tractor stops. And that was the thing. Even when they got a stop, Dijon Benton has the sack on the 4th and 5 on Shedeur Sanders. USC gets the ball, then they miss a field goal. Colorado gets the ball, marches right down and scores. So even that play, that was a big stop, and it helped them because USC just needed to chew the clock. And the fact that they got the ball back after that Benton stop was huge. I thought that was going to be the end of the game, but then Colorado goes down and scores again. So even when it looked like they did something good, they ended up shooting themselves in the foot later on. I guess with this defense this year, if you're playing a good offense, it's never over, because at 41-14, I thought this game was done and dusted.
Yeah, and it was not. And Caleb Williams, after the game, kind of looked like his body language was like they lost. He throws for 6 touchdowns. Yeah, it's only his first pick. He said he didn't get his feet under him when he underthrew Mario Williams on that one, but he looked depressed on the. I don't know. That was kind of weird. The winning quarterback throwing 6 touchdowns that everyone's praising, and he looked like they lost the game.
Yeah, maybe he looked at the defense and is like, really? It looks like last year. I made this big step. He's clearly taken a massive step, Caleb Williams, from where he was last year when he won the Heisman to this year. He's improved. I bet he's thinking, why isn't the defense?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap things up here from Folsom Field. Early morning game here. It was crazy. So we still got a lot of football left in the afternoon if you're watching it. For Connor Morrissette, I'm Ryan Abraham. Make sure you check out uscfootball.com for more.